afternoon. It's Vicki Dyer with Vicki Dyer Real Estate and Remax Center. And this afternoon, I am talking to Rob Donahue, the owner of Sure Thing Home Inspections. And hi, Rob. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Vicki. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I'm so happy the weather is nice today. So I've got some questions for Rob, and we've kind of chatted about this in a minute. So Rob, I want you to introduce yourself and your company, and how did you really get into the home inspection business?
Well, first, thank you, Vicki, for having me on.
Mhm.
And yes, I'm Rob Donahue. I'm the principal owner of Sure Thing Home Inspections. We've been in business since 1996, going on our 23rd year. And the funny thing about myself, married with two great kids. We're Buford residents and been in Georgia since 1995, right before the Olympics. I was originally born in Massachusetts, and it
Wow.
was up there where I was actually a licensed real estate agent for 7 years. So before I got into the home inspection business, I was a listing agent, a buyer's agent. We did mortgage pre-qualifications, and the company we worked for that my uncle owned, we also did new construction. So when I relocated down to Georgia, I figured it was time for a change of life. The market was kind of going down. It wasn't that great up in Massachusetts. So I had family here, so relocated and just saw an opportunity. I actually was an ad in the Atlanta Journal
Uh-huh.
about home inspection software, and I was pretty intrigued by, that was back before, Al Gore had invented the internet,
Oh,
but
yeah,
I had
right.
a, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I said, well, let me go see what this guy has going on. It was in home inspection for, because I had been on home inspections when I was a real estate agent. And back
Uh-huh.
then they were just using clipboards and, two-part forms, Vicky, with checklists. Maybe you may have seen those.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I mean, they were good for the purpose. Back then it was, kind of an overview, which it wasn't until the mid to late 90s when in reality that home inspection was really an industry and a profession. And since then
Yes,
it
this is
has
true.
changed a lot. So
A lot.
that's how I got sort of into the business. Answered an ad, bought the software, got my son certified with a class,
Uh-huh.
and started doing real estate. And
Well,
started doing home inspections with great agents like yourself.
oh, wow. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. So you did what I did, what I'm doing now, and you did that back in Massachusetts. Wow, I never knew that about you. That's
Yeah,
super cool to
very, a
know.
very tough market back then, and everything's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot older. So I'm much happier inspecting homes here in Atlanta.
That's interesting to know. I appreciate that knowledge. Okay, so a lot of my buyers that I talk with online are asking,
Hmm.
can I still get my home inspected if I'm under contract?
And it's true, you can. We're like yourself with the real estate industry. We're an essential business,
Right.
so we do have the okay from the governor of Georgia to go out and do home inspection services for the real estate industry. So with our company is the great thing is our employees, and that's one thing that's unique about our company is all our home inspectors are actually employees. They're not subcontractors, which is unique
Oh,
in our
okay.
industry.
Wow.
So not only that, everyone is certified and building code certified for new construction. And all of our guys are what we call COVID-19 certified. So what happens, they had to go through a class before they can go in to any of the clients' homes to learn how
Okay.
to do disinfectant, learn what to touch, what not to touch, and how
Whoa.
to react. So
Yes.
we are working, we're doing the mask, the gloves, the booties, and the spray and the wipes, and we've had added some different protocols. Um, I'm sure the next question would be how do we go into the seller's home? Our protocol basically is that we're asking the buyers and the agents not to show up for the inspection, like we normally don't. We always like them to be there because the
Right.
home inspections really, and I think you can appreciate this, Vic, it's more about education than anything
It
else.
is truly educating the buyer on what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, you're always showing them the good values, showing them, what areas in the school districts, and now we find 3 or 4 homes and we narrow it down. So the idea, the goal of the home inspector is to go out and do a visual inspection, just give a report on what they're at that point in time. With our company, we don't pass and we don't fail them. We just give you the updated information.
Right.
So that part stays the same even during the COVID-19 situation we're in right now. So we will still do the inspection, again, all covered up. And one of the things we do before we leave the property is we'll do a three-way call. So we'll first
Okay.
call the buyer, put them on the phone, and then we'll get the agent, and we will do our walkthrough on the phone. So that way everybody's hearing the same information. They can ask questions, which is more important than anything else. If you're going to find some defects, and defects are just something that need to be attended to.
Right.
And usually
Every
the
home.
best, right. I mean, that's
Right.
why if you get a 25-year-old house with 25-year-old furnace, the idea of it is, well, you know, eventually it will wear out, it will wear
It will.
down, and we give options like home warranty or having it looked at by a professional. But when we explain that to the buyer, at least on the phone, when we have our reports on our iPads right there, when they receive the report at the end of that day, because that always stays the same, Vicki, they're not going to be shock and awe.
Right. Yeah, I think the worst thing for a buyer is shock and awe. I mean, and I love your reports, Rob. When I have a buyer, I 99% of the time recommend you. Sometimes the 1%, they have a friend or somebody like that, and I go, ooh, okay. But I like your reports because they're really easy to read for an agent. I like to say you put it in Vicki speak, and so
Yeah.
Vicki understands it. And if I've ever had a question, I've called you or one of your wonderful home inspectors, and they've been able to answer it. So I find your reports really fantastic. Really quickly, can you tell me the major parts of your report? Like maybe a buyer is watching this and they want to, well, what are the major systems of a home that you're going to inspect?
Well, that's a great question, because thank you for the compliment, because we actually do receive quite a few compliments on the report, because
Yep.
the way we looked at it is we asked some of the buyers, what is it important? And the first thing, and I know you've been through hundreds of transactions, Vicki, and hundreds of home inspections. The first thing they want to know is what's wrong, right?
What's wrong? What's wrong?
What's wrong? What's wrong? Or what do we need to worry about or not worry about? What do we need to take a look at? And that's how we have our report set up. I mean, they're all done digitally with photos. And the way it's laid out is at the beginning, we have the items of concern show up right up front in the report.
Right.
So the idea of it is not to produce a 100 or 120-page report. More isn't always better. They always want to know up front what it is. So when you get the report, which is going to be PDF, they'll be able to download that, look at it. That comes up first. And
Yes.
then from there, you get the pictures, you get the explanation. So we have actually broken it down to location, issue, and recommendation underneath every item.
Okay.
So everything is consistent. And as of this day, we're still in the process. I bring my guys in once a month and we do training, but we also do report review, report updating. So we have found that Kimberly, my office manager, has found that when they call and ask for questions, it's like, where is it? What's the problem? And how do I fix it? So we actually implement that, add that into our report. So it answers, we'd like to say 9 out of 10 questions, you know, I mean, it just helps them out.
Yeah. Right.
And the rest of it is broken down into structural, mechanical, heating and air, plumbing, framing, basements. We go in crawl space and we check the appliances, check outlets, cover panels. So it's visual, it's in depth. We belong to INANACHI with the National Association of Certified Home Inspectors. So like a lot of professions, we have do's and don'ts, things that we can do, Vicki, and things that we don't do. So we wouldn't be going into someone else's home and disassembling things. Like we've always said, remember, we're being invited into someone else's home. The buyer hasn't technically taken possession of it. So we do have, you know, standards of practices that we abide by, and they're in all of our reports.
Yes, and I love your reports. Again, I find them very readable by me. It's easy for me to do the amendment to address concerns about the property, you know, and it goes really great. It goes great. All right, so basically speaking, been in business a long time.
Yes.
You're still doing a lot of home inspections. You're taking precautions. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this conversation about home inspections right now, or maybe what you think buyers should really be looking for? I was going to ask you about mold because we've had so much rain.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So, in all of our inspections, all our inspectors are certified in doing mold and radon,
Okay.
which is very prevalent here in the
In
South because of
Georgia.
humidity and
Mhm.
because the bedrock that we have. And all of our inspections come with a free visual mold inspection, meaning that we can go in and see it visually. We have a process that we can identify that it's active and put it in our reports. And what's kind of important for the buyer is we can do that without having to charge them extra for testing. But once we can do the testing, but that comes at an extra expense. So the advantage of our reports is that we can definitely tell you that it is mold and further testing should be done. And we kind of move that towards the seller as an expense, but better than having to say what appears to be, which is great. Some of our competitors can and cannot do it, but when it says what appears to be, now we have to spend more time in the due diligence and get it verified. So when the
Right.
client use us, we can say, yes, it is active mold, it is growing at this point. You may want to have further testing to see what the levels in the species are. So that's
Right.
included visually in all the reports. Um, it's just that we try to do the best that we can with the circumstances that we have.
Right.
We
Precisely.
always want to make sure in vacant homes that all the utilities are on. And
Right.
you can appreciate that because everybody wants plumbing check, the heat check.
The
Um,
appraiser. The
yes,
appraiser. The appraiser.
it's very, very important. And, you know, and a lot of things that we have found in the change in the market, that a lot of people are trying to sell with uh, discount brokerages or trying to sell their houses for a cheaper price or from companies that buy them and flip them. And we call them in our industry, of course, you know, this lipstick on a pig. And
Right.
we're just, you know, we're seeing an influx of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, buyers should be aware of what they're purchasing. I mean, you need to be working with professionals. Just like I said, just because if you're a dentist and you can do anesthesia doesn't make it that you can do brain surgery also. You want
Not
to have a
likely.
professional
No.
real estate agent and make sure if you're calling around that they're certified,
Right.
that they have the certification because in Georgia it's not regulated by license.
It's not. And I tell that to buyers and
Hmm.
very surprised. Now, one other thing I want to say, Rob, I love your website because I
Thank you.
use many of those referrals on your website to refer out to my buyers, like Big Frog Electric. I think
Hmm.
Phil, I may have said his name wrong, is on your website. Quilt
Hmm.
Construction. A lot of these guys do excellent work, and I plan to interview most of them too because a lot of them do know me. So,
Yeah, and connections are important because I know we're not being paid by anybody, but the
oh
idea of
no,
it is,
no, no,
you
don't
know
mean to
how
interfere. No, no,
right. It's like who do you know type of scenario. And I've been around for 23 years, like yourself, and for a long time. We've seen good, bad, and indifferent. So we want to make sure it's the right person. So we do have a preferred network on our website, and the contractors and people are there. So we
right,
make it important. We have like on our website, you can see all of our 5-star reviews.
right.
And you know, our clients have also thought we've done a good job. I mean, we just got our 50th year in a row with Best of Gwinnett for home inspection services.
I
So
saw that.
um,
Yes.
it's just we're just here to be to assist everyone in this process, just like yourself.
Yeah. And I'm always telling my clients, my buyers, all right, let's use these companies.
Mhm.
And no, I don't get a kickback or anything, neither do,
Mhm.
but because they come referred. And if they're referred, they come with a standard of
Yeah,
excellence
yeah.
that I expect with a professional contractor.
Yes, it's very, very true. You know, the birds of a feather flock together,
Right.
and that means great people know other great people, and we're not really in the referral, not to mention it's unethical, especially for in the real estate industry. But we don't
Mhm.
allow for it either. So no one pays to be on our website. We don't pay them. We just
Right. Oh,
want
I
to
know.
make
I know.
sure. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And we just always want to make sure that you know we're trying to bring the best people for the best job because not everyone is great at everything.
Right. Understood. And I love your website because it's very informative, and I love your blogs that you send me. I enjoy reading them. I think they're always professional and they're always giving something back, whether it's to a real estate agent or whether it's to a buyer. I think that's important.
I appreciate that. We just like to share the wealth of information. I said if you know it, you should share it.
Right, for sure. I agree. All right, Rob. Well, I think I'm going to close this right now. And just to remind everybody, I've been talking with Rob Donahue, and he's the principal owner of Sure Thing Home Inspections. And you know what, everybody? You can find him on the web at surethinghomeinspections.com. And his
Mhm.
office number is 770-995-6305. All right, Rob, thank you so much for spending time with me today. And please stay well, stay safe. Tell that to your employees and your family. And I look forward to working with you again.
Same here, Vicki. Thank you very much for taking the time to interview us. We wish you the best and your family the best. And if anyone has any questions at all, you feel free to reach out to us.
Will do. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, Vicki.
Bye.